up, guys? In my last snowmobile video, you saw me pulling out the cheetah motor. Today, we will be overviewing what I have done to the built motor. Yes, I did rebuild it, and I replaced a lot of parts. So all I'm going to be doing today is hopefully piecing back the rest of the motor together and slapping it back in the chassis. And then once I do that, I can tune the carbs a little bit and hopefully get it running so I can drive it back to the other side of the yard and, pick things up. So, alright guys, so, can't do anything without the McDonald's Dr. Pepper. But, so I hope this is going to show up. I have successfully tore apart the motor and put it back together. Now, it was a very greasy job, so I didn't film too much of it because I didn't want to get the camera completely, toast and all dirty. But I was able to replace all the electrical parts inside the stator. I didn't replace the stator because that wasn't bad. It was just the pickup coil and all that. And then I'll go over the rest of what I bought for it. So I did buy a new ignition coil. I hope that shows up. New ignition coil. And that's what bolts onto the stator. So this is the old one I pulled off. And it's extremely crusty. I don't know if you can see that, but that is really rusty. And come to find out, when I went to go unbolt this thing, these wire leads that I didn't know that I had to do anything with, they were plugged into a connector on the outside of the actual motor, and I had to cut them off and splice the new wires from the new pickup coil into, and I've never really done that before. So it was like my first time soldering two wires like strongly together and making sure there was a bond. But I found a wire that was coming off the negative and it was already soldered, but when I went to go unwrap the electrical tape, it was just snapped. Like, it was not connecting to anything. Therefore, I think that is what was actually causing my spark issue and it going in and out of spark, is because that connection would touch and then it wouldn't. Therefore, I would get good spark and then I wouldn't, if that makes any sense. And then the next thing I bought was, this box actually doesn't say, but it was a new aftermarket CDI for Arctic Cat. Arctic Cat makes the CDIs. Now, I have the old CDI box, and this is it. But as you can see, when I was pulling the motor out, I ripped the plug off, which is right here. Now, I could have just like spliced them together, but I wasn't really thinking at the time, and I found a new aftermarket CDI on the internet for like 50 bucks. And then the last part that I bought is this Arctic Cat voltage regulator. And now I figured that since I was just replacing all the electrical components, I might as well replace every component that could fail. And I know on the Wildcat, that's what was stopping it from revving up. And so this is just your typical Arctic Cat voltage regulator. It's aftermarket, but it's pretty much OEM. It's the exact same thing. So I'm gonna do an over. Here we go, folks. So this is the motor taken apart, taken out of the sled, and hold on. I was able to get in behind the flywheel, or behind the recoil, and then the flywheel is in where the starter gear is. And there's that pickup coil, and this basically just sits like this inside, and then the flywheel spins around here and spins around other magnets and creates electricity, which then is sent to outside of the motor through this wire right here. It is sent one to the CDI, which then this two connector lead then goes to the actual ignition coil, and then it picks up and sends your deliberate spark directly to the spark plug through the spark plug caps. And I thought that this was bad, and so we tried other ones, and it did seem to come out of spark only for a short time, which is probably because that main wire that I was telling you about that was snapped in the original one had gone bad. And then you have another power that comes out to a four-way, which then connects to your speedometer, your lights, and all your gauges and stuff. And I basically have it jumped right now, basically because the motor is out of the sled, and I need to jump it because there are two brown wires right there. I don't know if you can see the brown color next to the yellow, but those are power wires. So in this particular Arctic Cat sled, all the brown wires are either grounds or power wires. So I had to jump these two to close the circuit. These two go to the key and close the circuit. So I'm closing the circuit now, and I tested it, and I did get spark, and it did start up last night. And so I had to basically wire and splice into this wire right here, splice in two different spots. I had to fix what the other guy did, and then I had to wire in my own. And that was very tricky because, like I said, I've never soldered before, and so that was something else. That's all I'm gonna say for right now. I'm gonna hopefully bolt the exhaust Y pipe back on, and then I'll hopefully be able to get it back in the sled tonight. Alrighty guys, so this is the setup that I'm dealing with. All I did was just pulled the cheetah in the garage and shut the door so then I have some light coming up. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish up cleaning the engine bay and belly pan, pretty much whatever's left that needs to be done. And then hopefully I'll be able to plop the motor and set it in and tighten everything up so then I can put the carbs back on and hopefully try and start it. That'd be very, very cool. Right now it is 8:38, and hopefully by the time we check back in I'll have the motor plopped in. Alrighty guys, so obviously this is a mix-up. So the clip you just saw like 2 seconds ago was filmed over a month ago. Me personally, I've just been working so hard at work and stuff, and I just haven't had time to film anything. I've been working 40-hour weeks for the past month. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's good money, but in order to sit here and do projects like what I've done and film them and show them, there really isn't any time. So that is why I have officially quit my job. So let me put you guys closer for a second and I'll explain what happened. What happened is I was getting tired of what was happening, and management had changed, so there was new people coming in, and my old manager that hired me had left. Now, I had worked with this guy for 4 or 5 months, and so working there was really fun, but I'm just a kid that needs change. This is what I love to do. I love working on motors and doing manual labor and stuff like that. I don't like being confined in like a cubicle or anything like that. So I put in my 2 weeks, and by the time this video goes up, I will have officially been done. This is my main focus now. This is going to be how I'm making a living for myself. My goal in life is to just work with small engines, work with off-road vehicles, and build a career based around things that I love to do. And platforms like this, being a young high school student and being able to do this on my spare time in my time, that was the key thing for me. My time was more valuable than the money. The money isn't, yeah, it's nice, I can finish projects like this with the money, but when having time for me to do these things, I need money to do that. But then again, my education on projects like this and furthering my knowledge on things like this far more outweigh the income, the steady income. I'd much rather take my chances, flip a bunch of these, and learn than be broke, not have any of these, and pretty much do nothing with my life. So, in that sense, what you had seen for the last clip was me putting the motor back together. Now, I didn't, like I said in my last video, that I was going to do a full rebuild. This isn't, I didn't do a full rebuild. I didn't do, like, my crank bearings. I didn't do any of that. I didn't do top end work. Mainly because when I hooked a compression test up to it, it was fine. You know, it had plenty of compression. It was right around like 120, and I did that when I put the motor back together with all the new electrical components. I had a buddy come over that had one, and we slapped it on and we used it. And now the motor has enough compression to run. Usually I would shoot for like 140, but these motors, being 35 years old, or 35 years old, I'm not expecting too much. This is an ice fishing sled. This isn't a boondocker like the 650 Wildcat's gonna be when I finish that. But I was able to replace the internal ignition pickup coil, like you guys seen. I replaced the CDI. I replaced the voltage regulator. I didn't replace the stator. The external ignition coil that goes to the spark plugs, I haven't slapped it on yet because I'm gonna run it like this for now because it runs great, but I'll have one as backup for this winter when I do change it out, because there are a few more little nitpick odds that I need to do to it, and I'll show you that right now. So basically what's happening is, now that I got the motor put back in the sled, the only thing that is left to do is build a bracket right here for the ignition coil, because as you can see, the bolt snapped off in the aluminum housing, which is going to be a real pain to get out. And then after that, all I'll need to do is replace the bad fuel line and everything will be set. I'll probably just paint up the pipe and stuff, and then everything will be running. It runs now. I purposely ran it out of fuel, so I didn't have any bad gas come this winter. I've done as much things as I can, money wise and time wise, to get this thing running. And now that it is running, I'm going to button it up, and that's going to be this winter's trail and ice fishing sled, unlike the Wildcat, which will be my sled to run. This is something that I've waited 2 years for it to fully run right, like it does now. It starts up. The only thing that I need to do is get the choke lever, because the plastic deteriorated in the sun, and so when I flicked it, it just snapped. So I'll buy one of them, and the sled will be together. It's the first it's been all together in almost a year, and I was able to drive it across the yard over to here. So that's why it's taken so long and I haven't uploaded. But these videos are going to be coming out now. There'll be fishing, there'll be hunting, there'll be trapping, tracking, all sorts of videos and projects on sleds, dirt bikes, four-wheelers, and of course the snowmobiles. I still have to finish the build on the Wildcat. That's one of my major things that I'm dreading, only because I know I'm gonna have to put probably another $100, $200 into it, because there's just endless amounts of little tiny cosmetics and tiny little electrical parts that I just have to replace or refurbish depending on what I want to do. It's not going to be a show sled. It's going to be a ditch banger, boondocker. It's a 650. It's got plenty of power, but the old Cheetah, it's only a 500. It's a fanner. It's a long track, so it's going to be for hauling the ice fishing sleds, getting us out where they need to go. And yeah, that's basically what I wanted to inform you guys on today. It's been forever since I posted, so like I said, thank you for subscribing, thank you for tuning in, thank you for taking your time out of your day to watch this video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If there's anything that you would like me to do in the future, just let me know, comment down below, and I'll make sure that at least you get to see what you wanted to see, because if I can't produce content that you want to see, then that's content that I don't want to put out and pollute my channel with. I want my channel to grow and thrive and just continue and get bigger and bigger. We're sitting down here, I want to be up here, but I also want to bring the good content, the content you guys want to see. If there's any content about sleds or anything that you need to know, like you have the same sled and you're having a problem with, I've torn these sleds apart. I know part inside and out. Just comment down below. I'll make sure I read that, and if I don't make a video on it, then I will be sure to reply to your comment. And let's try and get this from here up to here, just by doing the things that you guys want to see. So like I said, thank you, and stay tuned for another edition of RT Outdoors starring your host Richard Allen. So stay tuned, folks. Have a great day.